What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. In this video I'll be taking you through my final team selection as well as all the injury news that came from the press conferences today and yesterday. So kind of a final decision video for you guys before the double game week 37 deadline, and then I'll cover all your questions in the deadline stream coming up tomorrow, 1 hour before the deadline. So hopefully the penultimate game week of the season, double game week 37, is going to be a massive one. So let's just jump straight into it. So the first topic I want to cover is going to be the injury news. The most important factor from today and yesterday was the press conferences. And unfortunately there have been some injuries that have occurred in training this week. Now there have been some rumors of potential doubts. For example, Arteta today said there's a few doubts within the squad, and apparently Saka might be one of them. Now this might just be the usual press conference from Arteta. I swear every week it seems like Saka is injured, but he just continues to play, so I wouldn't be too worried. We then had Eddie Howe up to his usual antics, didn't give much away in terms of Kieran Trippier, but all we know is he's back in training with a potential start this weekend. So I guess if you guys do want to punt there, you can go for it, but I'd probably assume one start out of 2 in double game week 37. Then with Chelsea, Reece James is back in training, but can't really see him starting too much football from now to the end of the season, but with the Euros coming up you never know. But the biggest news probably is going to be about 2 specific players. The first one was about those Brighton assets. Unfortunately, De Zerbi said literally nothing about Van Hecke. It seems like he's MIA at the moment. So like myself, if you guys do own him, I probably would take him out. There might be a chance that he does come back, but with that rumor of him being out for the rest of the season a few weeks ago, that might actually be true. But the player I want to talk about is going to be João Pedro, who apparently picked up an ankle injury today, and therefore is being assessed and might be a doubt for the weekend. Now I'm going to say he's a doubt because De Zerbi didn't necessarily kind of rule him out from game week 37. He just said he picked up an ankle injury today, and he doesn't know if he's going to start on the weekend. However, with this kind of news, I probably would take João Pedro out if I had the chance. Popular replacements are Nicholas Jackson and Callum Wilson, as Eddie Howe said nothing about the Callum Wilson injury. So very unfortunate if you guys did kind of bring João Pedro in for double game week 37, but I guess it's an excuse to take him out. Now another player with slightly higher ownership is going to be Bruno Fernandes, however you guys do want to say it. Ten Hag today confirmed that Bruno is back in training and therefore should be fine for double game week 37. Now look, you never know if a player is actually going to be fine for the weekend after coming back from an injury, but with Bruno's injury record and him missing only one game, which was game week 36, I'm pretty sure he should be fine for the Arsenal-Newcastle game. Now whether you guys, if you have a free chance want to take him out, that might be another debate, but I wouldn't say he's a fight to put out at the moment. So yes, one good thing, one bad thing, the bad news about João Pedro, the good news about Bruno. Are any of you guys actually taking Bruno out this game week? Now we might get some more news as the hours do go by. Sometimes we get kind of sections coming out late into the night, so I'll run through that in the deadline stream as mentioned, tomorrow 1 hour before the deadline. If there are any other players you guys want to find out about, you can ask them in the comments down below on my Discord server. It's the second link in the description. So now that we've gone over the kind of injury news, I'll be shifting the attention to my own specific team. So let's go over my final moves and team selection. And before we go over the transfer plan, I just want to showcase how my team is currently looking with the bench boost active. So the bench currently is made up of Onana, Garnacho, Ben White and Van Hecke. So that's at least one move we have to do to replace the Brighton defender. Now I'm not going to run through kind of every play. You guys can do that in the team selection I released yesterday. So currently my defense is Petrovic, Pedro Porro, Dan Burn and Guardiola. Now you guys will notice I've put kind of my best defenders and my best forwards, midfielders in the starting 11. But if you guys do want to do a switcheroo and troll the bench boost, you guys can also do that. I just want to give myself a fair assessment and I want to put the bench, if I wasn't going to use the bench boost, just to see how many points I gained from using the chip. Now midfielders are Heung-min Son, Cole Palmer, Anthony Gordon and finally Phil Foden. And the front 3 is Erling Haaland as our captain. That's not going anywhere. I believe he's going to get a massive amount of goals this double game week. So quick shout out there to triple captainers. If you guys want to use the triple captain, I would go for Erling Haaland. Using the chip is differential enough. And finally Nicholas Jackson and Isaac are going to complete our forward department. And to be honest, the midfield and the forwards look like a free team. Now I want to pause here and give you guys some recommendations for differential captains. I would have really loved if Callum Wilson was confirmed out. Isaac would definitely be my top choice. With no injury news about him, I might side towards going for a Cole Palmer. Yes, you could go for a Heung-min Son, but I want to go for a player that I do expect to do well in both games. And that Man City game, even though it is at home, is going to be quite a tough one. So I do think between Isaac and Palmer is where a differential captain will lie. I'm just worried about Callum Wilson potentially taking penalties off Isaac since he missed the last one. What you guys can also do, which is slightly more risky, is go for a Kevin De Bruyne or a Phil Foden. But what you're basically saying there is you expect Man City to do well, but Phil Foden or Kevin De Bruyne to outperform Erling Haaland. So that's why I think if you guys are going to go off Erling Haaland, I'd go for a completely different team, and I guess you hope that Fulham and Spurs keep them quiet. Now that you guys have seen my starting 11 though with 1 free transfer and 5.5 in the bank, let's showcase why I might do a -4 hit potentially. So the transfer plan for Game Week 37's double and the bench boost is going to be to take a -4 hit. Now the first transfer is going to actually be the hit transfer, and the reason I'm saying that is I don't have to make this move. Now I'm going to go over this move first because this kind of dictates which defender I do go for as my Faneka replacement. So the -4 transfer that I'm thinking about doing is going to be Garnacho out for Richarlison, but I guess the big question about double Game Week 37 is this worth the -4 points? Now if Bruno was going to be out of the double game week, I definitely would be doing this move as he influences that attack so much. But now that he's back in the squad, it does increase that United chance of scoring, so theoretically Garnacho is a better option. Now Marcus Rashford is also back in training and therefore Garnacho might be slightly rotated, but I do expect him to start at right wing over Antony. My clutching at straws is probably the fact that I do think that maybe Antony comes off the 60-70 minute mark and therefore Garnacho could potentially be a rotation risk. And since I do believe Richarlison starts the first game against Burnley, this might be worth the -4. But you guys can let me know in the comments down below, do you think this is worth the -4 hit? Just kind of focus on the double Game Week 37 fixtures though, as I might not even play Richarlison in Game Week 38. And I'll showcase that at the end of the video. But currently, as mentioned, I'm leaning towards actually doing this for a hit. I think the upside of Richarlison is going to be there. Now the only transfer I really have to make is going to be Faneka out, but there are a few kind of replacements I could look at. And the reason I spoke about the Garnacho to Richarlison move first is Romero was my first option. If I do bring Richarlison in though, it does complete my Spurs triple up, and therefore I have to go for an alternative. So the two players on my mind, the first one was going to be from Everton. This could be Tarkowski or Branthwaite as they face Sheffield United at home in Game Week 37, but currently I'm leaning towards going for Gabriel. Now yes, this would mean 2 Arsenal defenders against United away on my bench boost, so just imagine if United do get a goal against Arsenal. Gabriel, however, does offer some upside though in Game Week 38 against Everton at home, and with Arsenal challenging for the title, I do expect them to keep it quite tight at the back. But once again, this could have been a Tarkowski or a Branthwaite, but currently I'm looking at a Gabriel, as I feel like he offers more of an attacking threat on those set pieces. Now the only slight concern about going for Gabriel over someone like a Tarkowski is it does kind of lock me out potentially doing a Gordon to Saka next week, but I guess I could do a Gordon to Havertz instead. So these two transfers, I don't necessarily have to make both of them. I could just do the Faneka out move, but if I do only one transfer, it'd probably be for Romero. But currently I'm leaning towards the -4. Let me know what you guys think about these moves. Are there any other alternatives that you guys would suggest? Otherwise, let's head on to how the team would look. So taking into account the starting 11 and the bench boost, you guys can see I'm going to do 2 replacements on my bench. It's Garnacho as well as Faneka out. Richarlison and Gabriel will come into the squad, and I probably would keep them on the bench. So our final bench boost for 37 will be Onana, Richarlison, Ben White and Gabriel. As mentioned, if United do score, I'm going to be quite sad, but I do trust that Arsenal defends quite a bit. So I wasn't planning to take a -4, but it is how it is with all these injuries, and I do think the Richarlison -4 could come in clutch. Now the last talking point I just want to go over briefly is in terms of Game Week 38, I spoke about kind of my transfer plan as well as a potential benching headache, and I want to showcase what I mean. So let's go over the actual starting 11 and the bench. As you guys can see, the bench boost will no longer be there as I used it last game week, and the lineup for Game Week 38 looks like what you guys see on screen. So you'll notice that I've dropped Guardiola, I've put Gabriel and Ben White both in the team. I just believe there's more upside to kind of starting the Arsenal defenders as Guardiola could be rested. Now you'll notice that Richarlison is on the bench. I probably would play him for Gordon if I banked the transfer, but the plan for Game Week 38 would probably be to go for Saka or Havertz. Now here's where that extra funds could come into play, because what I could do is bench an Isaac and play a Richarlison, or bench someone like a Nicholas Jackson. I would therefore play a 3-5-2 for Game Week 38 with Havertz coming in for Gordon. Now if I did go for someone like a Tarkowski or a Branthwaite, I'd play Guardiola over Gabriel and then just bench the Everton defender. That would give me enough to go for Gordon to Saka instead of Havertz, which might have more upside. But what I could also just do is go from Richarlison to Saka instead. It just feels quite weird taking out a Spurs option before Sheffield United away. So if I do the -4 for Garnacho to Richarlison, it does lead me to a little bit of a benching headache. But just remember, in Game Week 38, all teams play at the same time, and therefore we might get loads of team news. So this way it gives me some preparation. If you do get some leaks and some shocks, I at least have some bench coverage. But otherwise I might actually be benching quite a few points. So lots to kind of think about before the deadline, but I wanted to go over it, give you guys the context of my current situation, as well as the injury news that we currently have had. As mentioned though, deadline stream comes tomorrow, 1 hour before the deadline. Hopefully I see you guys there to lock in your teams. But this is basically gonna wrap the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you didn't subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow for the deadline stream. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.